Serious Satanism. I've made the point that Wicca is disguised Satanism. From a day and a year, or perhaps 1,000 days, is the conscious decision of possession of discipleship. I have tried to bring an initiation system into an online group, but thus far it seems no one has accepted more than an identification towards adversarial mastership. Secrecy is not needed to make it work, as one goes between part-time and full-time acceptable obsession. The Ninth Gate is certainly a movie that provokes interest in real and theistic Satanism, with more than the following: to travel in silence by a long, circuitous road, to brave the arrows of misfortune, to fear neither noose nor fire, to play the greatest of all games, and win, foregoing no expense, is to walk the vicissitudes of fate, and gain at last the key that will unlock the Ninth Gate. How do we approach the Grail Castle? What is the fool of the labyrinth? Lust will strike you down as one ventures through transitions without intellectual consideration. Become the Hanged Man, the Prince of Wands, and the King of Wands, as you remained as equiposed as art. Games of chance are not to play, but chess is neither chance nor without secret meaning. Bring home your abundance, hidden from undue risks, and accepting the consequences. Be armed and armored to deal out the punishment beyond their system, or to withstand their onslaught. Enlighten yourself and open up with the right tools. Illuminate with no more obscurity while being in the physical, with a mind enshrouded by the spiritual. Satanism and anti-Semitism will be the next video. I meant to say from a year and a day, form a year and a day, or perhaps 1,000 days, as a conscious decision of the possession of discipleship. Okay, let's go back one here. What is eternity? Not a Nargargole Shlod video, probably a Poppy video. I stopped commenting on Poppy videos because it wasn't really having much influence on people, and I figured my efforts were worth more elsewhere, and it wasn't exactly terribly symbolic to do much with. It is the time for white, and elsewhere it is the time for black, then purple, green, yellow, white, red, blue, and orange. They chime in. What if we don't want to go to heaven or hell? With a weak smile, eat your porridge, and all may be well. The son of your father is your brother. The recent avatar is the way for not just their spiritual classroom, but for those of that place and age. Life is short, but death may seem far. Followers, opponents, and leaders go out in a zoom. Poppy can project herself as a divine sage, but we know about her. That Poppy Illuminati wannabe Baphomet, the truth behind a cult, is the title of the next video. You are aware that the pyramid and the eye was of a group that the Illuminati opposed almost as much as the Jesuits and the monarchs that helped remove them from further history, aside from scams a couple hundred years later. The justification of one's low life makes that Poppy video evil. Baphomet is not really an evil symbol, nor are beings who take on that form necessarily demons. There is no style of music that is inherently evil, but country and pop rank up there below gangster rap. The Church of Satan was headquartered in San Francisco, in the Black House, while I lived in the area. But I would have never been a member or went out of my way to go there. That Poppy was 22, last I heard. People need to be honest about their age. Lying to seem older and younger may work in an age group, but it is not right, you know. People just need to be honest that age is just a number. She should have had her channel removed or demonetized for exposing personal contact information. Well, if that's clear what she was doing. As an artist, I understand how symbols are not good or bad in themselves, and anyone can be demonetized. Anyone can be demonized by an outsider, or not read how one intends otherwise. The Gospel of Poppy, book unboxing, all-seeing eye, orb, spirit, 1149, occult unmaxed. A proper Illuminati puppet would be something Illuminati related, like an owl. I talked in detail about their degrees. It would be an indignity to consider them Lucifer, using a word like occult or magic as evil in themselves. That's part of the problem. Being vague can be a good way to involve more in what one does spiritually. I have tried to involve more types of people with my content that way, but maintaining actual principles, though. Interview with E.A. Coetting. I did 4 myself after this one, obviously. Hoping to do a 5th one soon. Trying to get somebody on to join me for the eclipse, the Ring of Fire eclipse, which I think it's longer than the last solar eclipse I did a video for. At the 331 mark is the Mirror of Magic of Wonder. I understand the Arcalis part, but why is Eric and Coetting part of his magic name? Right-hand path and left-hand path, our yoga and tantra, are not as different as people who don't seem to know what it means make it seem. Satan and the fallen angels were always gendered and of a different matter than the fallen angels. Etymology of the demon names generally shows that the names of them are what Orthodox religion calls evil. Most Christians treat religion as a form of justified irresponsibility or fatalism, but most major or even minor faiths deny that approach. Islam and some other faiths may not have criminal punishments for blasphemy, but that doesn't mean their spiritual law allows the individuals to blaspheme any faith. Why switch around what one believes or acts out, faiths not believed, as if it is a movie or something? I agree that it seems not the most reasonable choice. It does make little sense to call up demons in the name of their enemy or worship one to interact with its adversary. Yep, you will find me and all sorts of people when you type Become a Living God or E.A. Coetting. So, aside from Omni Eris, who are the other 2 who really hate him? Because I don't say that I hate anybody. Definitely. It's not as bad to talk to as one would think. One might have thought at some points. There are so many, but some of us admit to what is good and offer alternatives rather than just being adversaries. And yeah, I suppose I would have, like spending a weekend or even a day trying to go through the Enochian keys, all in a series or something. Except for the Crowley add-on of the 10th Aether. Might not be a bad plan, but okay. Pearls from the Quran, Ramadan 2017, Katiras, Part 20, The Fruits of Belief. The pedagogical message of picking 5 nights, or the remaining nights, is clear in the narrations of the night of decree up till the end of Ramadan. If every other night, the odd number days will be in the best 10, and there will not be doubt whether the 20th or the 30th will be included of the even-numbered nights of Ramadan. Predestiny is something essential to believe in for those surrendering to the idea of an omnipotent God. Without fatalism, it gives hope in purpose and result. I'm doing a yoga series right now, by the way, and it's not just reading the book. I'm throwing in some comments. I try to have, each video definitely has some information that's not in the book. 1-10-1438, opening a month study of demonolatry. The Devil's Cron, Codus, Artaxarchus, Arcus, yeah, okay. By A.A. Moraine. Kronzon, Volume 1, Edition 1. Kronzon, Volume 2. The Sinister Tradition by the Order of Nine Angles, and The Black Path by Tariqa Azadini of Algiers are the intended books to teach me this month about the theistic Satanists and their ways, with their 938 pages of exposure to the ways of Ibadah Shayateen, our servants of Satan. It is a month that has repeatedly begun with a strange warmness around the time of sunset, before my evening orisons and other rituals began, or between them. Presences known and unknown may be where they weren't before. Music in certain art is recalled like not before, or comes with different feeling than it did. Satan and Satanism is real. But, by whatever name you call them, and that warrants a response. What will we learn? What will our understanding be? What will our actions be? What will our experiences be in that regard? That Poppy VR 180 experience? We are as many dimensions as there are, unless one has to be non-human to be part of those metaphysical dimensions. Or, if one has to be dead. When we're alive. If we're alive, if one has to be dead to be part of them, then we're not part of all of them, right? Few know the spiritual reality of humans, and what else can be called clay beings. The fire beings and the light beings can be said to share with us and successfully have an additional dimension. Anexion, where the spiritual and the physical interact, or the human and these other beings interact. A connection is, they don't have to overlap each other for a connection, but haram relations and marriage. People get to know each other without violating principles of touch, modesty, seclusion, and more. There are different types of love. One of them is by habit. Of the body, wealth, and status are chemical reactions that wear off. And I said something to Lauren Tate, about if you're not better than a body, then you're in a state of loss. Or I didn't mean that as an insult or anything. I've just meant as a principle of character. There's got to be something better. And in terms of relationships, 4.5 years, a couple years per kid, very temporary unless you marry for character. Actually fall in love, not. The body can get better, people can get wealthier and better status, but even having a child together can only extend it a couple years. A person should have a protector testify on behalf of the woman, and that is best as her father or her other family. Cultural may be sound in Islam, but it's not always required. Making the witness giving, dowry, and encouraging readiness as soon as old enough, and the sanity with it, is important to bring more chastity in society. Bride prices, prevention, and ransom marriages should not be more common than marrying young anywhere, because those three things are wrong. Forced marriages, and, you can't marry my wife unless you can't marry my daughter or my cousin or whatever until you pay me money. It's like, dowry is for the woman, it's not for you. Oh, that's different. You have to give her what she wants too. Okay. Ooh! Oh, no, come on. Poppy is trying to say that she is menstruating. 18 were around a special bringing. Fascinated from a bag. She is fishing. What we need is a purity that is pleasing. Let's make a video, official audio. Don't do it all for show. There is merit in art. I convey of what I know. Where is your heart? Sabbatical month, come on. Uh-oh, that's... Response to Weird Sister, Part 1, WYRD. This is a VK Jehannam video. I'm not talking about how my sister is different. Although I could do a video about that, but, one doesn't do stuff like that to one's family. Why do you do that? Yeah, I don't want that to be the last thing I hear from my sister. Thank you very much. Goetia and the like can be very psychologically provoking. I would encourage all towards being authentic and individualizing in their truth-seeking. What good is spirituality that a person can't objectively and subjectively analyze for oneself? Response to Weird Sister Part 2. Spirit signatures can be analyzed, and I would welcome inquiry into actual sources and method of the occurrence of sigilia. In a way, all alternative spirituality grimoires, not all alternative spiritual books are grimoires. Even if they're satanic, it's still not grimoires. A grimoire is a method manual. It's just a ritual book. It's not, okay, there may be a little backstory with it, but it's not like, here's a story, and okay, here's a little ritual in it. In a way, alternative spirituality, grimoires, and all demonolatry text within that can be as the same, but I agree that within that time period and the specific category matter in judging them. I wish more would interpret, correct, and experience the texts associated with their spiritual path. Now, if you believe that something is directly revealed from God, or what you consider God or gods, or directly inspired as such, then you really probably shouldn't do anything like that unless you consider yourself to be a higher God, or, oh, well, I can be wrong and God can be right. I could be right and God could be wrong, or, if that's the way you think. But certainly the scholarly and mystical sort of things, and, people trying to compile the traditions, the Bibles, and that sort of thing, you can, one should probably be careful with that. But response to the Weird Sister Part 3. Once a person has awareness of something, of the spiritual worlds, even the part of themselves that transcends the psychic, they need to admit something else is out there. Each type of spirituality would do different things to the practitioners and what is around it. Psychological change can be controlled in others and one's self. It is time each learns what goes beyond. Swearing, blasphemy, and other insults may not be necessary, but I agree that it may provoke some of the desired results. Response to Weird Sister Part 4. Unilateral Atarianism. Unilateral Atarianism is so very much the common viewpoint of the lazy or hasty to judgment of the outsider. I thought Left-Hand Path was about not having always to adhere to the works of other scholars, but to have one's own. Ultimately, truth and value are not popularity contests. And Hail Satan!